All right, I'm gonna flip the bumper right now. What's going on, good people of the internet? It is time for OnComicsGrounds.com's flagship podcast, Panel to Panel, where a bunch of folks shoot the breeze and talk about comic books and such. We are here live with episode 4 for you beautiful folks to sit here and talk about the movie that has had everybody on edge for months and months and months ever since Avengers Infinity War dropped last year. And we've had everyone not wanting to talk spoilers, but it is a week out and we feel it is safe to talk spoilers and have a great time. So we are going to get into it. Don't worry, for anybody who would like to hear our opinions without spoilers, there will be a section after intros and housekeeping to talk about non-spoiler stuff, and then we will give you like a 2 to 5 second warning, and then we will be going into spoilers. So, excuse me, that'll be your time to bail out if you don't want to hear spoilers. But if you do want to hear spoilers, please stay and have a good time with us. One of our moderators, Ian, is already in the chat to have a good time with us. So, to my right, we have the amazing, the awesome, our senior editor and PR director, Mary. How you doing?
Okay.
That's awesome.
I really got nothing else to say. I mean, I'm here.
That's what's up. You are alive and you are breathing. That is awesome to hear. To under me, if I'm going by the circles on the screen, our amazing contributor, the number one Nightwing fan, Travis Tucker. How you doing?
Pretty good, man. Just yeah. There's a Star Wars event on For Honor, and I'm excited for that, and I'm excited for these spoilers.
Yeah, I saw that. Every weapon is a lightsaber.
Yes.
What? And that's just weird. And then to his left, we have our special guest for the evening. He is one of our senior contributors. He is the host of our brother podcast, Living on the Edge, the Spider-Man podcast. He is amazing. He is spectacular. He is Alec Thorne. How are you today?
I am doing very, very well. I saw Endgame yesterday for a third time. Still doesn't feel like 3 hours. But yeah, thank you for having me on. I'm excited.
That's what's up. That's what's up. Don't forget to follow all of us here. Like our handles are below our circles, our icons. Don't forget to follow Living on the Edge at LOT_podcast. Don't forget to follow the website on Comics Ground at on Comics Ground everything, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. All of that is available for you at on Comics Ground. Don't forget to follow the podcast Panel to Panel at PTP_podcast. All of our updates will be there and then shared on Comics Ground, so please check that out when you have time, because we are always publishing new reviews and new opinion pieces every weekday for you amazing people. Thank you for your support. Okay, we are going to go ahead and dive into our non-spoiler opinions on this movie. So, Alec, you are the guest of honor here on Panel to Panel. So, with no spoilers, let us know how you feel about this event that is Endgame that rocked the world. Let us know how you feel.
So, I am very, very, very biased and opinionated, because, and I'm going to shamelessly plug this. I'm going to shamelessly plug my,
Please do.
My op-ed that I wrote recently on what the Marvel Cinematic Universe means to me. You can find that on the On Comics Ground website.
Yes.
I grew up with these movies. Like, I was part of this generation where I was like in elementary school when Iron Man came out, and pretty much shocked everyone and shattered any expectations people had for it. And like, even through all the like subpar ones like Incredible Hulk and Thor: The Dark World and Age of Ultron. Yes, Age of Ultron is a low point. Don't pretend that it isn't. But Yeah, I've been with these movies for so long, and like I saw every single one in theaters, and like it's so weird to say that I did. Like I can die knowing that I wasted my time watching every MCU movie. But no, but so this movie has like a special place in my heart because I think someone said it best. I was watching some other person's spoiler talk the other day. The MCU is like one long running comic or one long running comic, and debatable obviously, but like it has stuff. It has these things that from comics that we wouldn't have thought we'd ever see in movies, except it has the finality that comics don't really have. At least Marvel and DC don't really have. Everything is just probably not stopping for a long, long time, and like this movie is like in my opinion, it's the best ending to it's one of the best endings to a long running story in a long time. And people can debate this with me, but I personally think it's the best comic book movie ever made.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a high order you got there.
Yeah. My top three. Oh, sorry.
Oh, no, go ahead.
My top three, and they're all like tied, are Endgame, Into the Spider-Verse, and Logan. They're all they're all different. They all approach the source material in a different way, but they're all tied for the top spot. But yeah.
All right. Now, Mary, you are the one who's like not seen every movie, but so I wanted to get your opinion on Endgame. How did you feel about this giant thing?
Well, I think for context, I should point out that I've only seen like not even half of the MCU, and I have seen 5 of them in theaters. And yes, I am the uninitiated, but you have a DC fan on to talk about a Marvel movie. This is what's going to happen. I think as a movie, it was perfectly fine. The emotional high points obviously weren't as strongly resonating with me because I have not been on this, journey kind of a thing.
Understandable.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there were great points, and there are things that I genuinely very much liked, and then some of the other stuff just kind of fell flat for me.
Okay.
But again, I don't have the extreme emotional connection to some of these things, and there's a certain actress that I do not like as an actress or as a person. You know who I'm talking. I don't like Gwyneth Paltrow.
You don't like Goop, Mary?
I don't. That is my one critique of the movie, is that it has too much Gwyneth Paltrow.
Okay. And then for Travis, you were telling me like before we got on that this thing was emotional for you. So what would be your non-spoiler opinion of this thing?
Well, like for me, I grew up with, like, of course you got the big DC trio, of course, but that was also Spider-Man, Iron Man, and like Wolverine and the Hulk. And as I got older, I started to steer more comics wise towards DC. So these movies were kind of like a last bastion for me. And man, they deliver, in my opinion. I have issues, don't get me wrong. It's not a perfect continuity, but it's the best long running thing that I've seen since the Star Wars series I watched when I was a little kid. That 3 VHS box set that I'm thinking every parent had.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's really it. Like I enjoyed what they brought to the table. They gave me the comic Thanos that I've been wanting the entire time, and that was just so good.
All right. For me, I gotta say that this thing has so many highs and so many lows that like if you've ridden this ride, a lot of it will tear you up. And even if you haven't, like Mary said, like there's some really good stuff in this movie that can be like powerful for you. Now, I remember seeing an article of someone who was like, Endgame doesn't cater to the non-fan, and I was like, oh my god, because Alex said, you can't really go into this like totally blind. Like even if you see a couple of them or watch like a couple of YouTube videos about what it's all about, maybe you could be okay. But like you can't expect like the Russo brothers to explain every detail when we've gotten this far and lost so much. So for this movie to do what it does and impact you so hard, it honestly, I was at a point of superhero, like, or specifically Marvel superhero movie burnout. Like I was hitting it with Doctor Strange, and then, even before that, probably around like Age of Ultron, I was hitting it. And then Black Panther pulled me back out of it because it was a movie that I had waited like almost a decade to see, and then I like it started going back down with Ant-Man and the Wasp and Captain Marvel, because Captain Marvel was just like above average. It wasn't perfect for me. If it's perfect for other people, that's fine, but it wasn't totally for me. And like, I'm not the target audience for it, but that's fine. And Ant-Man and the Wasp, like it came in and did what it was supposed to do. So like I was starting to hit that fatigue point again. And then this thing just hit me upside the head and was like, "You're gonna feel stuff today, damn it!" So, like, I gotta say this is probably in my top three. It ain't the top because Black Panther will always be the top, but it's definitely in my top three for best Marvel movie. But from there, we are gonna go through the like highlights of the movie, talk about certain things that happen in it. This is your spoiler warning. So if you are watching, if you are listening to this post on YouTube, if you are watching this on Apple Podcasts, because we're going to be working on that soon, this was like your time to get out. If like in the far future you haven't seen Endgame somehow, A, what is wrong with you at that point? B, like that is your time to get out. But like still, okay. So spoilers ahoy! First off, I feel that the Hawkeye scene at the beginning is it's like watching a oncoming car crash, because like it's sort of like what happened at the end of Ant-Man and Wasp, where like you know what's about to happen, but like you're not ready for it. Like and then when it happens, you're just like, the pain, and it just
Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
No, like, I thought that scene was, and this is something I'm gonna just say flat out for the entire movie. I think the movie is beautifully directed. It has some very, very great shots in it, and I think this first scene with Hawkeye and his family, and seeing his and like, he's under house arrest like Scott was, and he's having a big old picnic with his family. And after his daughter shoots the bow and he tells her to go get it, she's just snapped. She's gone. Then he turns back and his family's gone. It's just like, ugh. And what I love is like how the camera follows him and just shakes around. It causes this sense of confusion and chaos.
Yes.
And I loved it. It was a great cold open to the movie.
Travis, what did you think?
I agree wholeheartedly. Just like how heartfelt it was to see Clint with his family, and then it's just gone. In the same vein of pain that we were feeling at the end of Infinity War, so it was a great link to the new one too.
And like similarly, like how they did with Ant-Man and Wasp, like it's almost that perfect time, like that, like you can, if you put all three scenes on a time lapse, you could see when it happens perfectly, and it's just.
Yeah, like soul. I'm hoping that if like the rumor is true that Marvel's going to release like all 22, 23 movies in one box set, there'll be like a cut of Infinity War and Endgame put together with the post-credit scenes all linked together.
That would be amazing.
That would be amazing for like a movie night, and y'all just want to watch the Infinity War Endgame 2-parter, and it's like, oh, here's a cut that's 5.5 hours.
That would be too much.
I'd be fine with it.
Or just the right amount.
Yeah.
From
But,
there,
yeah.
like the way, like I feel like the idea of also one of my favorite scenes of the entire movie is Nebula and Tony Stark playing metal football. But like,
Oh, I love that.
But like seeing Nebula show more humanity in that scene was so well directed.
Oh, yeah.
But from there, I gotta give credit to credit where it's due. Who, like, whether it was RDJ starving himself or it was the makeup team making him look as gaunt and like almost on the brink of death as they did was really good. So like, props to that. Carol saving them was awesome. And then from there, the entire like 10 to 15 minute span that it is of Tony coming back and then what happens with Thanos is so powerful. And then like and just how it ends, like it's almost not satisfying enough seeing Thanos go out the way he does, because it's like he like Thor goes for the head, but then you're just like, that's it. And then it's
it's like, what was the point?
Legit.
He won. Like, one of the things I loved, well, two things actually. When Tony gets down from the ship and Steve is helping him, Tony just looks at Steve with this like really haunted look and says, "I lost a kid."
Yeah,
that like hurt me. That hurt me in my soul. And then and then the scene where like Tony starts pretty much freaking out on Steve, like damning him for like all the stuff he said they would do together, which didn't because of what happened in the Civil War. And I really appreciate that they didn't just like that off, because I feel like a lot of people were expecting, oh, well, they're going to make amends right at the beginning of the movie. But no, Tony's just like, no, screw you. I have nothing for you.
It's like, y'all should have listened to me, and look where we are. It was like, damn.
Yeah. And what I loved was that, like, I feel like I've seen like so many people say, oh, Tony's absolutely in the right. He is in the right to a degree, but there are some things that are just like, I mean, it's more of him. It's more of him being. It's not just him being angry at Steve. It's him being also angry at himself, because part of Tony's character was that he was trying to stop this big thing from happening, and now it's just it happened, and there was nothing he could do.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I gotta say, the part like just that entire like whole little skirmish inside the hut was really well done. Like letting Bruce get back in the Hulkbuster was really cool, and that was great. That entire scene just feels very hollow for me, and I kind of want to know how you guys think. Like Mary, for someone who didn't really know like have a lot of weight in it, like how did it feel for you?
Well, first of all, the scene is hollow because I feel like it's supposed to be hollow. And not having the emotional attachment, I can kind of do an academic read of the situation. And a prevailing theme in the Marvel Universe is that retribution is not justice. Retribution is not fulfilling. I mean, this isn't Batman.
Yeah.
You know, where Batman's all about revenge and retribution and justice and whatnot. But Marvel has always kind of tried to steer away from that narrative to kind of set themselves apart. So whereas, you know, we find, you know, some kind of fulfillment in watching Batman, you know, beat the shit out of Joker for something that he did, we're seeing Thanos, who has, you know, snapped away half of the galaxy or the universe or whatever the hell it is. You know, we're seeing him get taken out in such an unceremonious fashion, and you feel just as hollow at the end because retribution is not justice. This was revenge. This wasn't justice.
You right.
Yeah, like
that's pretty spot on.
I like when I saw it in the theater, I saw it opening night in IMAX, of course. It like I'm not gonna beat around the bush. Like people who see Marvel movies are like trained to laugh at every single thing, it feels like. But So, like, of course, when Thor chopped off the head, people cheered, and then when Thor said, "I went for the head," people laughed and cheered.
That's not a thing to laugh at.
Yeah.
Like, that was dark as
Yeah,
hell.
like,
It was
watching
really
it,
somber.
watching it a second and third time and seeing it, it was like, fuck, Thor just, like, there was nothing that could be done. Thanos snapped the stones away. Like, there's nothing they could do now. And Thor just cut off his head for revenge, and he was just... What's the word? He was, it's not basically he was just fucked up after that.
Yeah.
That's my one F word. Yeah. But
I'm going to. Oh, go ahead.
oh, sorry. But no, what I love about this movie is that this version of Thanos, died believing he won, and I think that was super important because I it's not out of question to say that people were expecting, oh, well, Thanos is gonna heal himself and he's gonna get his army back and they're gonna take him down. But no, this Thanos just died in an unceremonious way, and that was very, very effective. But yeah.
Mary?
Oh, I was just going to loop back to the point of how it's an unfulfilling revenge. And I'm going to incite the ire of the internet by saying this, that it actually draws a very heavy parallel to the end of Man of Steel, where we see Superman snap Zod's neck. Like, yes, while he is trying to save this family, it's more in a response to the destruction of Metropolis. And it feels very hollow because, retribution is not justice. And so I think that all tied in together. I don't know if the internet's going to come after me for saying that.
I mean, your point's very valid. Like, there is a very good parallel there.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
No, I mentioned something quasi-positive about Man of Steel.
Oh dear.
And compared it to Endgame.
Oh god, oof. I can hear the pitchforks being sharpened now.
The red capes are coming. The red capes are coming.
Oh dear. Okay.
Hey, that's a good line.
Yes, it is.
It's a good line, but it's read in a very funny way. Anyway, yeah.
From there we have the time jump.
Oh.
And like, I have mixed feelings on doing a time jump because, like, while it gives me the satisfaction of getting a teenage Cassie Lang and gives me hope for a Young Avengers movie or a TV show, it leaves this weird moment where, and like, some people are older, some people are younger, and like, it, like, when the younger people come back, it like some people gonna be older, and that just it kind of could create a weird dynamic for some characters. Like, I know that the Russos or whoever directed Spider-Man said, yes, everybody important from Spider-Man like got snapped, and then like we don't know if Angela Bassett got snapped, but like she's there at the end. Like, we don't know all this other stuff. So for them to just be like, okay, 5 years, it creates a weird dynamic for the rest of the Marvel universe, even though they get everybody back. Like, does that make sense to everybody else?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think Go ahead.
No, you go ahead. You go. Yeah.
No, go ahead. Oh, I was just going to say I'm gonna get my negative point out of the way. I thought it was profoundly lazy.
Ooh.
That it is a backdoor setup for the rest of the Marvel franchise without really having to do any of the actual groundwork. It is the equivalent of a twist in a comic book event. It is what I like to call hand-wavy comic magic kind of a thing, that, oh no, they gave up, and then it's 5 years later. And I feel like there are a lot of unanswered questions in those 5 years that they are going to reference back in future movies. Yep. Like, oh, hey, where did the X-Men come from? Oh, they popped up in this 5-year time. Where did the Fantastic Four come from? Oh, they popped up in this 5-year time. Like, I feel like it's a convenient built-in stepping stone.
I agree.
And I think on terms of a larger narrative, at least in my opinion, I think going on down the line, it's going to be a convenient excuse.
Travis, what do you think?
I don't know. That 5 year time jump was a little weird. I was a bit skeptical about the whole concept of time because it's been done so many times that it. I almost kind of just heavy sighed in the middle of the theater when they're like, "We got to go through time," and I don't know. I think Mary's right about the lazy writing portion of this. The 5 years leaves a lot. We didn't see any of the pain that anyone went through. We didn't see any of the growth that Tony had just magically gotten in the 5 years that he had like had this child and raised her.
We don't even get to know if Wong came to the wedding.
Right. Like it's all just assumed that everyone's just like super pal buddies and I don't know, they just kind of get to the grit right away and leave out a lot of sunny days so the rainy days seem darker.
Am I the only one?
Can I?
Oh, go ahead, Mary.
I was gonna say, can I just jump in and make one point? Like, as a woman, it does not take 5 years to grow out hair color. Because Scarlett Johansson and that weird ass hair color, we were in the theater and my wife Victoria just leaned over to me and says, "That does not take 5 years." And like, I know, like, I get that blonde's a hard color to fade/grow out, but come on now. Okay, that was my girl point.
Am I the only one that noticed that Carol looked over at Rhodey and said
Yes.
good luck like she
No.
had some
I
intent
saw
there?
that.
And it was like, you're giving us the acknowledgement that Carol and Rhodey are a thing, but like Don Cheadle's 50. This is weird. And they kind of like took a jab at the Carol Valkyrie fans while also saying, hey, Carol's banging an old dude, but Carol's kind of old herself. And it's like, that was such a weird thing.
Yeah. I mean, sorry.
No, go ahead.
At least it was like quick and wasn't like it was at least just her looking at him and saying good luck, and it was just that.
Like they didn't
But,
really
like,
do too much with it.
But yeah, but it was still like when I saw it, I was like, are they implying that relationship is a thing or? But yeah, I don't know. That's something that I think is better left out.
Yeah.
But
Considering
yeah.
the age gap, because Brie Larson's only like 28.
Oh yeah.
No, I think she might be a shade older than that, but yeah, she's 29.
I mean, like, age is but a number, and probably, like, in character, Carol's probably, like, pushing 60 herself, and, like, in like, retrospect. But, like, and then, I talked about it off stream, but I still think it's hilarious that they were like, let's give Carol long hair, in the movie, in Captain Marvel, and then they fix it in the comics, like, give her back the long hair, and then they're like, oh no, short hair in 5 years, gotcha, and it's like, hey,
Got him.
Just
That's not how
fix
hair
this.
works.
The time jump. Sorry, I wanted to go back to this real quick. I liked it. I do agree that it is a pretty convenient way to set up the rest of the MCU. Like, especially with Peter, it's like people be asking, why is he still in high school in 2023 when he was in high school in 2016?
That's going to cause some problems. And plus, like, the
Yeah.
issue of if they conveniently snapped Flash, Ned's girlfriend, Ned, MJ, and Peter, and then, like, in Flash Thompson. But, like,
It was a whole random
did everyone
balance.
else got snapped? Like, is their whole graduating class gone? Is there a bunch of new kids? Are they even going to reference that? No? Okay, moving on. Like,
There
that's
are
how it
some-
feels.
There are some new kids in Far From Home, so that's why I was like, something's amiss
That
here.
makes sense. I don't know.
But,
yeah.
But we'll see. We'll see how that turns
Yeah,
out.
we'll see
I
about
think I think it's fine for right now, but it all comes down to how they're going to deal with this in the coming future.
Most definitely.
Because that's my take on it. But for the most part, I liked it because it was in terms of the MCU, rather than just like franchises in general. We haven't really had something like this, and the same goes for time travel. So
that kind of stems to the next point though, because like
yeah.
with Ant-Man, like that was also a convenient thing where they're just like, "Hey, a rat let him out." I'm like, wait, like he didn't just like,
dumb.
yes, it was very dumb. Like
that was
he didn't
very
just
dumb.
pop
Yeah.
out himself. Like he didn't just pop into existence from the quantum realm. Like the idea that a rat just let him out and like the van got impounded in like somewhere for 5 years. Like really, that's what
Didn't
we
he
did?
save? Didn't he save himself from the quantum realm in Ant-Man 1?
Yeah, that
Didn't
was my
he do
logic.
that?
Why couldn't he
Yeah.
just bring himself back? Like I don't
Like it just like the 5-year thing still happened, and he still like went through a time vortex or whatever. Like
That's what I thought they were gonna do, and then they're like, "No, a rat brought him back." Like what? No,
like
no.
like here's my thing with that. Like it is very stupid, but it's not very foreign to comics in general.
Yeah.
I don't think.
Yeah.
And like I don't like to make that excuse, but I think to me I'm cool with it because it's like these silly stupid things are in comics, they carry over to the movies. I'm fine with it, but it is still pretty stupid. Like I'm not denying that. But yeah.
All right. With the whole Ant-Man thing, I gotta say, his little speech to Tony was pretty powerful, especially from someone like Paul Rudd that I've seen to do comedy for a long time. Like,
oh yeah,
to see him have that kind of impact was kind of nice. But from there, I gotta say, as happy as I am that Professor Hulk is a thing, I really want to know what Banner was doing for so long that there's like a catchphrase like Hulk out. Like I really want to know. Like, can Ruffalo get his own show? Can like please?
oh please. I remember like years ago there was going to be a Hulk show with Guillermo del Toro making it. Like that was years ago, but that was a thing that was going to happen, and it just didn't happen. But please bring him back for his own show. I want to see.
I think that decision's up to Universal.
Yeah, like that was the whole reason why like Planet Hulk got shoved up Ragnarok's butt. Like we did see Travis. We didn't have a conversation later. We can be in the Ragnarok hate club,
dude. That's my favorite Hulk story they're messing with.
See, there we go.
It's a club I cannot join.
But no, like the idea that Banner is just like Hulk out, like say green, like it's weird. I don't know. But I like that he is in control. I kind of feel bad that we didn't get more of a like I like that there is a show Don't Tell, but like the idea or a tell don't show to an extent, but like I kind of am sad we didn't get to see like a full resolution on the whole Hulk yelling no thing. They just kind of told us what happened, but I don't know.
Yeah, because it's more of a mental thing than it is a physical thing in the comics, isn't it?
Something like that. I don't know.
Yeah, because all he says is he was in a gamma lab for 18 months and melded himself with Hulk, and that's. I feel like that needs further explanation, but that's just me.
Right.
We might not find out ever, but like honestly, we don't even know if Ruffalo is ever going to come back because like honestly, the only one that's technically confirmed to come back is Renner. So I don't know.
No, Thor is too.
We'll get to that, Mary. We'll get to that. So from there, we have the plan come together after Scott gets turned into a child and then to a baby and then to an old man. But after that, we start putting the plan together. Clint comes back. Gotta say, I know me and Travis were probably loving the Ronin scene.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I love that. I love that scene. It was great.
The Ronin scene was worth every second.
Oh yeah.
I wish she could have been in the suit longer. Like it felt like they were just trying to sell Funko Pops, but that's just me.
Yeah.
But from there, I like how like Clint was ready to take the dive, like as the test dummy. Like I ain't got shit to lose. Let's just make it happen. That was kind of fun.
Yeah.
Right.
But and like so him wanting to do that was great, and then I'm torn about Thor. Like,
which part?
all of it. Like, just I'm torn on Lebowski. Like, mainly because it
Yes!
just it emphasizes a lot of it emphasizes more of the annoying Guardians of the Galaxy level humor that I hated from Ragnarok, but also it makes it feel as if Thor can't be like his own character and can't have growth, because he had all that growth in Ragnarok. Even though I hate Ragnarok as a movie, the idea that he did like become a better god and then it all gets snatched away because of this traumatic event feels kind of messed up to me. But I do like as a whole I like the arc, but I think making him like the Big Lebowski is kind of weird. Like, I don't know, like, and then Ian's in the chat and said like it was fat phobic. I don't think it was fat phobic. That's me.
May I
Go
may
ahead.
I interject? I'm saying this from someone who is fluffy. But I ain't got shame with that. But I can definitely see, because there are some jokes like the melted ice cream joke. I'm just like, yes, it's worth a chuckle in the theater opening night, but not really after that. But on rewatch, which I did twice, in a theater where there's not many people and not many people are reacting, I think you get the sense of the tragedy of him more when you're not surrounded by people who are laughing.
Yeah.
And and I don't think it's really that fat phobic, especially because he walks into the final battle still with that beer gut and getting his armor on, and with Stormbreaker and Mjolnir. So
Yeah. Mary,
if
what do you think about this? Because like I'm mixed on how I feel, but like I don't know. I like the arc as a whole, but I don't know how to feel about the whole thing.
I think they played it up for a laugh too much. I think, one, like the initial scene, because I mean, because the joke isn't Thor got fat. The joke is that, Chris Hemsworth is ripped constantly. And, so it's more, I think it's one of those times where it's more a play on the actor has to sell it visually as opposed to an in-character thing.
yeah.
Okay.
And I think it worked as a joke once, and every other time it got kind of gratuitous. I mean, James, you definitely have a point with the fact that, he's in the armor, he's, fighting all this, fighting all these bad guys, he's in the armor, but I don't... See, it's kind of a larger problem for me because I don't really like Marvel's line, 4 jokes, another line of dialogue, another 4 jokes, another... Like,
yeah.
I don't like that. And I know going forward that this is going to get hit really hard when they do the next Guardians of the Galaxy if he's in it. And I know that that's just going to be like a constant running theme. So in this one instance, I don't know if fat phobic is the word that I would use, but I think moving forward, it has potential to become it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I like that stance. Travis, what do you think?
I don't know. I'm kind of indifferent about it because in the whole time in the theater when I was with my buddies, I just couldn't help myself but to just every time I saw Thor lean over and be like, the dude abides, like every time. And they played it up for a joke. I get that, but I found the whole thing to be far more sad than funny, to be completely honest with you. And it like they tried to do the humor thing, but I think the ultimate goal, maybe it was hit or miss, I'm not sure, but was to use that humor to paint like a darker, sadder message. You know what I mean? So, and with that, yes, it can become fat phobic for sure. I can see that. but I think it has more to do with him hitting rock bottom and bringing himself out of it than fat phobia. But I could see the point.
Yeah,
Okay.
I agree with that.
Well, from there we have the big adventure we have here, which is them going through time and breaking into teams and whatnot. Starting with the Team Three Stones, I have christened it, which is going back to the original Avengers and trying to get what was it, the space, the time, and
Mind.
the Mind Stone all at the same time. I gotta say, I am happy they acknowledged that Tilda Swinton would have been Ancient One. I'm glad that Wong didn't just go inside and get it. Like they actually paid her to come back for a scene. Like
Yeah.
it meant that they actually cared. Just like how in the later scene they had like freaking the
Crossbones.
Dude, not like Crossbones and the dude who like the villain from Winter Soldier, like them coming back was a great thing because it showed that even if it's for a scene, they cared enough to keep the time thing going correctly.
Yeah, and
what mattered to me.
And what I loved was that and like some people debate on like how some movies will come along and it's like, oh, we're supposed to believe this whole thing was here all this time. And Endgame, when we go back to 2012 in New York during the events of the Avengers, we see, yes, the Ancient One had the Time Stone with the Eye of Agamotto. Robert Redford was still in charge of S.H.I.E.L.D. Barack Rumlow and that other guy who played KG Beast in Batman v Superman was part of S.H.I.E.L.D. And Agent Sitwell too.
Superman?
Yeah, it was that one guy with the slick back here.
It was the creepy Russian dude.
I might have to go back and watch Batman v Superman tomorrow.
Wait, he's not like KG Beast in full costume, but he is KG Beast.
But I have to go back and watch freaking.
Yeah.
But I don't know. From here when it came to, also. That is America's ass, by the way.
Oh, I love that. I love that joke so much.
Best line, especially when Steve bought into it. That's what made it better.
Oh yeah, he's like, yeah, that is America's ass.
And,
I really hope that was ad libbed.
I hope it was too.
I feel like it was.
That is America's ass. I wonder if they'd make sure the stunt double's ass was just as good as Chris Evans just for that one line.
I wanted to say one thing.
Sure.
That it's a bit of a theory. So in the trailer we heard the four characters say whatever it takes. Tony says it in the trailer, he doesn't say it in the movie. I think that there's a deleted scene from before they time traveled where Tony visits May and tells her that he's going to get Peter back, whatever it takes.
I don't believe that.
I think it is because they made an absolute point last year that she survived the snap. They said explicitly that she survived.
If there is, okay, but I don't think they would have put that effort into that.
I think there is, but if there isn't, I'm not going to be torn up. But I think I feel like there's got to be something, and I just didn't want to focus too much on Peter being the only tragedy of the snap. But that's just me. But anyway, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
The whole thing with Tilda Swinton was cool because they used Back to the Future logic for time travel, which I love. The idea of divergent timelines, which leads to a lot of continuity issues that people are having. We'll talk about that at the end. But these ideas that certain things are changed now is really cool to me. But
yeah.
That entire scene was just awesome. They had to go back and redo the animation on old Hulk and stuff like that. They put that work in. It was really cool. They even made them put the old costumes on, which I thought was dope. So props to them for that. I feel I feel bad for Scarlett Johansson if she had to be back in that ugly wig for another scene because that first red wig was horrible.
Yeah.
From there. We had what I call Team Dark World, which was Lebowski and Rocket, that entire thing was great because I still think Thor: The Dark World is underrated as crap, and I will fight people on that because it is a better Thor movie than Ragnarok, and you can at me, I don't care.
Those are fighting words.
Hey, we there will be further episodes, but like in regards to this, I think Thor's arc, like I think this entire scene is what made the Thor getting fat thing okay for me. Was it showed that his mom was able to pull him out of his stupid. Like, that's what was cool to me. And like, granted, he still had some emotional issues like towards the end, but him having that cool arc was really cool, and them acknowledging everything was dope.
I think like it garnered my appreciation for the Dark World more.
Very much so.
Especially because of Renee Russo's acting. She was great in that.
Travis, you share my love / hate for Ragnarok. What did you think of this scene?
With Korg and Meek.
We already moved past that nonsense. I was trying to avoid the new Killa 69. Oh my god, I'm talking about when they went to Thor: Dark World.
You cut out there for a moment.
I was talking about when they went to Thor: Dark World.
Oh, I enjoyed that mainly because I liked how they linked it to what I think is going to be eventually an Unworthy Thor type of movie. Yeah, because I'm still worthy. Like, so clearly he thought he was doing something wrong, right? Yeah. Maybe we'll get to see that. That would be pretty. I would love to see the giant immortal goat in a movie.
Yes.
Hemsworth did sign on for 2 more movies. So.
Yes.
And then we'll get Beta Ray Bill possibly later on, which would be geez.
Well, I'm hoping this may just be me, but the fact, like, because yes, Natalie Portman is credited, but like in the credits, but it's only archive footage. The IMDb confirmed that. So
yeah,
but she did show up to the premiere to get her check. So what I'm thinking is that they'll let, like, if she's made peace with them, and now that they've let my favorite person in the world hand the torch over at the end of the movie, I'm hoping if Hemsworth really does one out, they'll be like, "Hey Natalie, you want a contract?" Like, that would just be great. Like, give her 2 movies, give her cancer, like, just do the whole arc and be done. Like that would just be lovely. Am I the only one, Mary?
She did. She so clearly did not want to be there.
Bruh, no, like she did like one interview and she seemed like she was okay.
No, like there's one picture of her on the red carpet and she rather looks like she would be clipping coupons.
I saw the photo. I saw the photo. I can't disagree at all.
Well, I guess my theory's out of the water then. Crap, damn it.
Well, I think she's probably still in pretty crappy terms with them because she almost walked during the Dark World when Disney fired Patty Jenkins off the project.
Yeah.
Because Patty Jenkins was handpicked by Natalie Portman because at that time she was the much bigger draw. And her as an actress, not her as a character, obviously.
Yeah.
But no, she pretty much, like, it's kind of, I feel like with her, it's like Terrence Howard levels of disdain. So, like James said, I'm pretty sure she's there to get a paycheck. But
like, it seemed like she was ready, like showed up like, "Hi, can I have my check? Okay, bye." Like it felt like that, but it gave me hope that maybe she'll come back. Maybe like at the very least, give me Thunderstrike.
I think if they're gonna do a female Thor, I think it's gonna be Tessa Thompson. I think they're gonna use
really
her.
Needs to be Jane.
But I think if Natalie Portman is done, then unless they're gonna recast again, because they've recasted before.
That's true, but like I feel like if they were gonna recast, they should have recasted for that one little time jump.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
like even Ian even agrees with you that they probably would have to recast. I don't know. I feel like if Hemsworth really wants out after 2 more movies, they let him like either cast a new Jane, let Natalie get some money, or give me Thunderstrike. And I remember saw someone on Twitter today say they wanted Throg, and I was like, yes. I don't know. I gotta quit saying I don't know. With their I gotta say one of the best things that added to the Ragnarok hate club was Thor getting Mjolnir back. It was so nice because I hate Ragnarok for taking away Mjolnir. It just it was so nice. He's just like puts the hand out, and I was like, ow! Like everyone looked at me like I was crazy. I'm like, no, he's gonna get the thing, and it was just like, yes. I don't know. That was just me. Was anybody else excited about that?
Oh no, I was. I was
excited about it because of the results. Not like how it happened was like, okay, cool. But then like when you see it again later, not skipping ahead on the subjects and stuff, but woo man. I was jumping out of my speed. People were looking at me cross like
okay.
See, I liked Ragnarok, so I'm just gonna sit over here in my corner.
I'm in the corner with you, Mary.
Okay, so like we'll have to have Alex come back for a 2v2 fight here because this might need to be a thing in a couple episodes. Okay.
Oh boy.
So from there we go to Team Space, which diverges in two different directions. One direction is sadness, and the other direction is more sadness, but it gives me the best meme ever, which is Nebula going, I used to be different once, and Rhodey going, so was I, and it gives me a picture of Terrence Howard. So that's best meme ever. So best meme ever. But like when it comes to Nebula, I think it's weird that like I would have liked the whole thing with Nebula more if it would have just been Nebula replaced herself on the ship, not it's just convenient that their networks bumped shoulders, if that makes sense. Like, it seems kind of weird that their networks just bumped into each other when in reality it would have been cooler if Nebula would have knocked herself out and, like, Gamora found the real Nebula and was like, what in the hell is going on? Like, that would have been better to me than them just going, it's conveniently that their networks bumped each other. Like,
but then you raised a question, why would she be on the ship when the Power Stone isn't there?
Fair.
It's understandable. There are things that raise questions like, why would you do this? Why would you do that? Why would you go to Asgard to get the ether when you could just go to the rock that Natalie Portman stuck her hand in? Like,
yeah, fair. Also, like, did Rocket really stab Natalie Portman?
You see the little raccoon creature just get over here. Like
that would have been
get over here!
Like, ow, you just like stabbed the crap out of me, like, bruh.
See, I feel like that's a dig at Natalie Portman and her relationship with Marvel. It's that, hang on, we're gonna stab you off screen.
Okay, so like the Thanos thing we'll talk about later with his whole arc, but in regards to sadness, aka Natasha and Clint, aka sadness, aka Mary's rant.
Okay.
No, this one's gonna be Mary's rant, Alec. I'm
okay.
Like, this is gonna be her weight to bear because she's been cooking this one up for a minute.
Okay.
No, Travis, you don't even know. So now to this part's credit, I gotta give it, Mary, before you go. I gotta give it that at least they fought for it because the arc of that, like, cause we all hate Whedon, we do. It's understandable. We hate Whedon because Whedon's an asshole. But to his credit, the arc from A1, A1 steak sauce. The arc from A1 of Natasha and Clint caring about one another led all the way up to that moment, and they fought to be the sacrifice. I know you don't agree with the result, but I still think the fight itself was good. Okay, go.
Okay. This scene does not make me happy. I mean, I want to give a disclaimer at first because I understand what the scene is trying to do. It's trying to, give for some reason, warranted redemption back to Clint. Like, yes, he has his family, all that. I mean, when you see somebody for 3.5 movies, I feel like the arc is almost undeserved. But no, I understand what she was doing there. That, this is someone she truly cares about. He has a family. She knows they're going to succeed. And she's, in a sense, giving him back to his family. That being said, I think this is the absolute culmination of the utter failure of Black Widow that the MCU has done. Because if there is one character in the entire franchise that is truly the most underrated, it's probably Black Widow. And now, I'm not a Black Widow fan. Okay. I'm not... It depends on the day whether or not Scarlett Johansson irritates me. But I prefer comic book Black Widow as to MCU Black Widow. But as a woman, those 3 words no one likes to hear, it is absolutely frustrating that it, in a sense, was fridging. The argument can be made that this was fridging. That a female character was killed to advance the story of a male character. That is the definition of women in refrigerators.
Yes.
But to have this character who has been so underused in both... I think the only time that her character was actually used with any real intent was Winter Soldier.
Agreed.
And then the Russos had to go and ruin that for me after the fact.
Mm-hmm.
About how she's pretty much just been portrayed as the sex object that, in a sense, has been passed around to all of the Avengers. And then...
Travis, she's not wrong. She's not.
I'm not.
No, I'm hurt by the real. That's what's going on right
now. She kissed Steve. There was hints of Clint banging her before they introduced the wife. Like she got with Bruce.
Well, and here's the thing, is that after Winter Soldier came out, the Russos confirmed that there was quote-unquote sexual tension between Natasha and Steve.
Ugh.
And that kind of ruined because I liked their brohood in the movie. But, for Iron Man 2, it worked. Because in Iron Man 2, it is a reference to her original... Oh, goodness.
Sorry,
it is a reference to... No, you're fine. It's a reference to her original introduction when she was a KGB agent sent to seduce and assassinate Tony Stark, so I'm fine with that.
Yes.
And then we gotta have the weird thing with Hawkeye, and then we gotta have the weird thing with Steve, and then we gotta have the weird thing with Bruce, and this, that. And
She didn't go after Thor.
No, but... I think it was Chris Evans and Jeremy Renner that were doing a press interview. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think one of them ended up calling the character a slut. And then they had to do this massive apology to her.
I didn't know about that. I choked on my Diet Coke.
You'll have to do some digging. I don't remember when it was. My details could be fuzzy.
Okay.
But the fact that this character has been consistently treated as nothing but the token girl in the first, 5-6 years of the franchise. Because let's be real here, the only reason she was on the Avengers team is because Disney needed a girl.
Yeah. They could have, if they weren't afraid of the abuse thing, they could have had Jan, but they wanted to avoid that. So she was there as a
that is my argument, is that if they absolutely needed a girl, it should have been Janet Van Dyne, and she should have been the one to name them.
Yes, because Earth's Mightiest Heroes was amazing.
I might be mistaken, but I remember around the time Avengers came out, Joss Whedon said Black Widow was only there so it wouldn't be a sausage fest. That's what Joss Whedon said. Yeah.
Okay. Here it is. Chris Evans and Jeremy Renner have both issued statements regarding expressing their regret for the comments made about Black Widow, calling her a slut and a whore.
Oh, God.
It's from about 2015. Yeah, now, again, again, also they were talking about the character and not Scarlett Johansson, although I imagine she wasn't happy.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
But I think that also gets to my point that she is so pigeonholed in this role that even the actors, like, while jokingly, they know why she's there.
Yeah.
And I think to, in a sense, literally chuck her off the damn cliff is just a full culmination of how much they have failed this character. Because, yes, Wonder Woman was the superhero movie that came and kicked the ass out of, the stereotype that female superheroes couldn't make money. But they screwed up. This is where I think, honestly, this is one of the MCU's biggest failings, is that they could have beaten them to the punch.
Yes, very much so.
Yeah.
Because the perfect time for a Black Widow movie was after Winter Soldier.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, narratively, that's when it would have made the most sense. But she's been nothing but a convenient plot device. And then, a convenient plot device and a sex doll and a pair of boobs. And, like, she's there because Disney wanted a girl.
And it also raises the question of when, like, because we, like, to their credit, the people who supported a Black Widow movie are getting a Black Widow movie still. Is it going to be a prequel, or are
It
they?
is.
Okay, so because my other idea was, are they gonna let Red Skull and Steve parlay for her soul? That was my other idea, but that's probably not gonna happen. So, like, the idea of a prequel is the only option they have.
I feel like contractually, and this is speculation on my part, but I think this was a deal that they made with Scarlett Johansson.
Oh.
Look, we'll give you the movie, but we're gonna kill you off.
Damn.
I mean, and the fact that Widow is dead. Widow is not coming back dead.
No.
Yeah.
I mean, I have a feeling that the next Guardians movie, is going to be all about trying to find a way to resurrect Gamora or something. Because I don't know what project Zoe Saldana's already signed on for.
Oh.
But if that is the plot of the next Guardians movie, we might see her return at some point. But again, this is pure speculation on my part that I feel like this was a deal that they made with Scarlett Johansson.
Ian just brought up a good point that Adam Warlock has hinted for the third film. If Adam Warlock can reset the pot, like, that could be a way to bring her back.
But I mean, the past Gamora is still.
That's what I was saying. Some
wandering
people are
around.
saying that she's not there, but I think she is.
She's wandering around still. They didn't
cool.
ever show her going. Like, you had Peter searching for her on the Benatar at the end. So
Okay. Cool.
But I digress.
Wait, I got it. The Black Widow movie. It's gonna be Secret Empire. She's gonna be a clone.
Oh.
No.
She's gonna be a clone.
No.
I'm sorry. I couldn't resist.
I mean, to be fair, the current Vinny isn't half bad. Hey, at least we can say that she fought her way to go out on her own terms instead of being literally chopped in the freaking head by Captain America's shield. Like, we have, like, a difference in death here. Like Mary, can you give me that? Because that was a horrible way to go out.
No, you definitely have a point. If she had to die, this was at least a somewhat dignified way to do it.
Yes.
And I don't want it to seem like my argument is that, female characters can never die. Like, no, that's not the case at all. I'm saying with the 8-ish year lead up to this moment with this character, yeah, is my argument.
Okay. Well, from there, we get back to the present.
Oh wait, Stanley's cameo.
Oh yeah, I forgot. I just get the whole section. I apologize.
You're good.
Stan Lee's cameo, along with that entire section. That I honestly, I'm gonna be the one to say it. They can at me if they want. I think that I feel like Captain Marvel's cameo was better because it was simple, it was him, and it was satisfying.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like Captain Marvel's like cameo was perfect for him, and then this one just felt too goofy. So like,
Yeah.
I don't know.
I like the sentiment of "Make Love Not War" from Stan Lee in that cameo, but
Yeah, but
It
it
just
all kind
felt-
of came out terribly.
it felt too quick. It felt too quick, and like they had the makeup on him to make him look like super young, and it's like it just felt kind of out of place. I don't know. This is why I hope that Far From Home is his actual last cameo, because Spider-Man is his baby boy, and I feel like that would be
Maybe, I don't know.
fitting.
They said
We'll
it was
see.
the last one, but I don't know. But
Yeah,
with
we'll
that, we
see.
had this time travel thing where, like, I will say that I like that Tony had one last idea to get the Pym particles and come back. I thought it was a great thing.
Yeah.
But him not even, like, considering that his dad was gonna find him was hilarious. He was like, "Crack, crack, crack! Gotta put this in the bag. I gotta go," and it was funny.
Yeah.
And then that whole thing with Steve, like getting, and to his credit, who I forget dude's name that plays Hank Pym.
Michael Douglas.
Michael Douglas, like putting on the young makeup for one like half a second was a great thing. I appreciate that immensely. Like him having that one scene. Now I would have like especially because we know that she was there. Freaking who played Jan? I feel like an idiot.
Michelle Pfeiffer.
Yeah, like they paid Michelle Pfeiffer for one scene. They should have paid her to be in that room for one scene. That way, like she was helping him with the Pym particles. Because it was after World War II. Wait, when did she die? I forget. Crap.
She died in the 80s.
Okay, so
When,
yeah, like so she could have been there. Like
Yeah.
why didn't like you paid Michelle Pfeiffer for one scene to wear a black dress? You could have had her put on young makeup for one more scene. It would have been funny. It would have been perfect, but you didn't do it, and you let me down, Marvel. Like, I don't know. Travis,
Yeah.
what did you think of this whole time travel part?
I really enjoyed Tony and his father connecting. That was something I think everyone needed to see. Like, because I don't know, throughout the Iron Mans, it seems that he blames his dad for most things, and then finds out like his best friend's best friend killed him, and then they jump him. Like he needed some kind of closure.
I can agree with that.
Yeah. I've seen a lot of people complain about. Well, I don't want to say complain. I've seen a lot of people criticize this whole part with Tony and his dad because of Howard being a quote and what they call an abusive father, and I don't know because I can see the argument definitely, but they haven't really shown Howard to be a super terrible father in the MCU. So that's where I'm just like, I can see your point, but I don't really roll that way. I think this scene was, it's not Tony like being like, oh my, like I'm fine with that my dad was like really mean to me. It's more or less just like he had a rocky relationship with his father and he never got that closure, and now he has that closure. I don't think it's as extreme as some people are making it out to be, but that is just me. That's just my take on it.
I don't know. I liked, I think the arc that Tony goes through with Iron Man 2, where the video clip of Howard going, "You were my greatest thing," that meant a lot and put a lot more power behind him fighting Bucky to me. That's just
Yeah.
But from there we had, and Ian mentioned it in the chat, the whole thing with Jarvis being there and them acknowledging Agent Carter was really cool, because it gave a little bit of hope that with Disney Plus we could see the Netflix shows or even Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. be tied more into the MCU, which
as long as Ike Perlmutter can stop being a little bitch, then we can.
Strong words there.
No, he is. He absolutely is. I'm not going to sugarcoat that on him.
He still
But,
steers the boat on the comics.
He does, yeah. Kevin
Oh,
Feige
no,
nearly quit, but I'm not gonna go into that.
I liked the Jarvis little tidbit, but I gotta say, like, of all the money they're shelling out for one scene moments, it could have been Paul Bettany, man.
Well, no, that's the guy who played him in Agent Carter. That's why they did that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is deeper than I know.
Yes. So that's why they did that. And then from there, like, you go back to the present, and we have like that satisfying snap that they do.
Oh, I love the build up to that. I love how like everybody's suiting up, everybody's like shielding the headquarters, and like Bruce is like nearly dying from just putting on the gauntlet, and then just
he's like, I got it.
Yeah.
I got it.
And like some people were like saying, well, how can Stark Tech hold the power of the stones when they had to forge the gauntlet at Nidavellir? But like it shows that Bruce is like burning his arm by just putting on the gauntlet. Like,
Yeah.
So it shows that it's not perfect, but he was able to have enough strength to snap once.
True.
But
also, them just blowing up the entire base and turning it into a crater.
Oh,
honestly, that felt like the end of an era personified to me, where it was like, we're just gonna blow it the hell up, and then them, like, and Ian just referencing that Hulk had gamma radiation in him was a great thing, and the stones having gamma radiation in them was a great thing too. So them tying that all together was dope. But yeah, them turning that Avengers headquarters into a crater was like, okay, so now all the cards are on the table, guys. Everything's out. Like this is the last ride. And then they go, oh no, we got more for you. And it's like, wait, more? Oh, this is
like,
worse.
We are in the fucking Endgame now.
Yeah, and it just like,
that was my second F word.
Stop. Just that entire fights, like that entire 3v1. Mary, how was you feeling about that 3v1?
Maybe this is not a question I should answer. Do you want my truthful, honest, internet's gonna come after me opinion?
Let's go. I already took a shot at him. Why not? Go ahead.
I think they ripped it off from Batman vs Superman.
You're right. Oh. You are correct.
Down to the walking up with the cape flowing, because if you look at Marvel historically, Iron Man, Captain America, and Thor have never been their quote-unquote trilogy. If you look at the beginning of the Marvel publication line, they were only made a trilogy through the movies.
You are correct, because even in that iconic line, it's supposed to be Captain America, Thor, Iron Man, and Hulk together, all in one giant four thing. That's what I liked about especially in Earth's Mightiest Heroes, they had them all connect that line. So that's why I was kind of bummed that they benched Bruce in a big content there. So I agree with you on that.
And I think it almost kind of defeats the purpose of the whole let's go back to the Avengers. Like, really? Because there's like two other people that aren't there. So I think I know I can feel Alec getting ready to come at me for this.
Oh no, I'm not coming after you.
Now to Mary's credit, I do agree with her on all this, but also I feel like they sent the wrong pair to Vormir, because if they would have had a complete arc and let Nebula kill herself for the stone, that would have been great. Because that way, do you know how cool it would have been to have an updated circle shot? Do you know how cool that would have been? And they wasted that potential for a freaking ripoff of Batman v Superman. Do you know that would have been so awesome? And they wasted the potential. They could have had one final circle. Now, granted, the end like straight line shot with everyone is pretty close, but without Scarlet there, it's like you wasted your entire potential for one last spin shot and you didn't do it.
I will give all of that to you. You are not wrong. But
That was painful.
Travis, you said it's painful. Let Alec hold his bearing for a minute.
All right.
Travis, how you feeling?
Honestly, like I liked the scene. I get what Mary's saying about the forced, contrived Marvel Trinity thing, but the difference is that Thanos was the realest dude, and he blew a hole into Avengers Stadium, sat outside their door, and waited for them to come out there and run his fade. And he was just like, "What's up? I'm here. You got my stuff." Like,
He said, "What's good, dog?" He flat out said, "Catch me outside." How about that? Like he flat out.
Right. He's like, I'm up in your hood sipping tea right now. What's up? Like,
they pulled up to him on the farm. He pulled up to them at Avengers headquarters.
Oh, that's
right. But I get what Mary's saying. It's like if Steve can throw hands with Thanos, there is really no damn reason that the others couldn't have been out there throwing hands with Thanos. Because like I get Iron Man's got a suit and Thor is powerful, but Captain America is just kind of a dude.
I mean,
with a shield.
Fair,
he's a super dude.
They give us he's a super dude, but they give us the one thing that we all had been waiting for.
Wait.
Oh yeah, they did.
They let him like his Thor's getting his ass kicked, and you just see you see 5 come across Thanos' face, and it's like, oh, he picked it up.
We all fucked.
Oh, bro, I hopped out my chair, and everyone's looking at me like I'm crazy. I'm like, bruh, we have waited for this. And everyone's like, what? Like, do you not remember Age of Ultron? And Thor's like, I knew it. And they all got it right then, and they all hopped up. I'm like, yes, see, this is where it is.
That whole fight where Steve was using the shield and Mjolnir against Thanos, that was like Winter Soldier level clean fighting, like especially the part where he threw the shield, then threw Mjolnir, and like the two banged together and knocked Thanos back just from the force of it, and like throwing the shield like a frisbee and using Mjolnir as like a bat against Thanos. That was,
Mary, what were you gonna say?
Oh, I was gonna say that scene was dope.
Yes. And someone had asked me after the movie, like, because they could tell I was the giant comic book nerd. They were like, how could Steve use the lightning? And I'm like, whosoever is worthy shall wield the power of Thor. Like screw what Ragnarok said about, oh, I thought you were the god of thunder, not the god of hammers. It's he has the power of Thor.
Okay, come on, that was a great line.
No, I don't care. It was a dub line. Like, yes, the way he conveyed it was great because he's Sir Anthony Hopkins, but at the same time, it defeated the point, like the purpose of Thor's power to the point that that the Russo brothers were like, hey, Taika, that was stupid. We kind of need him to have a hammer. And they're like, and he's like, okay, I'm gonna go be Korg. Like, that's pretty much what happened there. And no one can tell me otherwise. The Russos just side-eyed Taika, was like, yo, we need him to have a hammer. What's wrong with you? Like, to the point they were like, hey, we're going to rectify it and give him 2. And then we're going to give 1 to Captain America.
Okay, wait. Before we get to the big thing,
yes.
Can we talk about this version of Thanos real quick?
Oh, yes. Like, the entire thing with that, like, it's very interesting to see Thanos in this capacity where he's like, I've seen it happen. I watched myself die, so I know I win. So, like Travis said, let me just roll up to the front door and be like, I heard you got my stuff. Like, and like he know, like he goes in with the mentality of, I'm gonna come in here, I'm gonna get my shit, and I'm gonna win. And like it's such a different mentality of, oh no, I'm not gonna just snap half the universe. I'm just gonna wreck everything once I get my shit. And I'm like, oh, okay.
What I love is that this movie shows why everybody who is like, oh, Thanos has a point in Infinity War is fucking dumb. Because like Thanos, like he can talk as reasonably and as sound-minded as he wants, he's still the Mad Titan. He's still a psychopath. Like, and this just shows it. He sees that, oh, that other half that survives isn't grateful. Well, then they're wrong. I'm just going to rule everything and be the new god of the universe and create life myself. And it's like, yeah, Thanos is egotistical. He's an asshole.
Mary, what were you gonna say?
Oh, sorry.
I was yelling at a ferret.
Sorry. Go ahead, Alex.
Oh no. But no, like I like, and what of is that in a sense this is like an inverse of Infinity War, where the Avengers themselves aren't in too much of a hurry. I mean Tony is, and Doctor Strange is, but like the rest of them are like, oh well, this is just another really big fight. But they get their asses handed to them because they didn't know the full scope. Like Thanos won by the time the movie started. He already won.
Yeah.
But in here, it's Thanos who gets cocky. It's Thanos who's like, oh, I'm going to overstep my bounds and I'm just going to travel through time. I'm going to get those stones and I'm going to snap my fingers and be the god of a new universe. But in here, it's like...
God of hammers.
God of hammers. Damn it.
I feel like I need to like get fan art made of us having a 2v2 about Ragnarok. I think I might have to get that done specifically for that episode. But no, I do agree with you. In regards to the I guess the highlight of the whole movie, which is the on your left. That scene right there was powerful because like and I love how
oh my god, I just realized that was a reference.
You just realized that was a reference? Wow!
Oh my god!
Now realize that.
That's great. That's
okay,
great.
What part of have not seen movies?
That's fair.
Click?
But no, I love how you could tell Feige and the Russos were like, yeah, we know who's gonna lead the next generation because they literally let the black folks lead the charge. That's what made it so satisfying. Where he's just like, not only are we gonna have Sam make the call to Cap over the intercom, we're gonna let the 3 black folks walk, or the 4 black folks, if you count Sam and Rhodey, they're like come out the gate like, okay, so you know we made $1 billion and we Oscar winners. Look, let's come out here and be who he is and give him the nod, like let's go, and then everybody.
Thanos ain't the only one with seasoning.
Yes.
I screamed like I'm the white boy here. I screamed when Peter came back. Obviously, my whole theater screamed. But like that moment when T'Challa and Shuri and Okoye walked through, everybody was like gasping for air and just like,
what's good, bro?
Yeah.
Can I make a point?
Yeah, go ahead.
I feel like not enough emphasis has been placed upon the fact that potentially thousands of Wakandan soldiers were slaughtered.
Yes, and like,
yeah.
But the thing was, they still came out like, "Ibo back." I'm like,
that's
yes.
It's like everybody and their grandma came to take Thanos down.
Like legit, they was ready to have one last bout at it, and like I wonder, I really hope they do address that in Black Panther 2, especially because that could be the back door to make M'Baku the villain that he needs to be. Because that's the one thing I didn't like about Black Panther, the idea that like especially because he made that line in Infinity War where he's like, "We're gonna lose Wakanda today." And then Okoye is like, well, this would be the great way to go out. And I'm like, that's not a good way to go out, Okoye. But like the idea that if you let M'Baku see the carnage that goes on in both Infinity War and Endgame, that would be the ultimate backdoor to make him a villain and fix everything. It would be great.
Well, another point for that, James, is you have to imagine the chaos that Wakanda fell into if their entire royal family got snapped.
Yup.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Because we don't know what happened to Angela Bassett. I mean, no, Angela Bassett is a queen and could run everything by herself.
Correct.
Yeah.
But I mean that about the person, not the character.
I was saying both, because any woman that can be
I know,
Tina Turner and Michael Jackson's mama, she can do anything, whatever the hell she wants. I don't give a crap.
I just really like Angela Bassett.
Oh, I do as well.
Mm-hmm.
Like, but no, I do agree with you that like the idea of Like, yes, that I like this theory. I might have to write an article about it. The Umbaku theory. I might have to rock this out. But
Yeah, but I'm sorry, you're leading the charge. Go ahead.
No, you're fine. I just like. I love how all them portals just open and everyone strolls out like, "What's good, Thanos?" Because to his credit, Steve was ready to take everybody on by himself, like strapped the shield and was ready to go. And then it's
that
like, okay,
shot.
nah. Yeah, that shot was powerful.
That they perfectly adapted the line. As long as one man stands against you, Thanos, you will never win. They didn't even have to say it. They just showed it with visuals, and I love that. Yeah. But anyway, yeah.
Like that entire thing.
Can I ruin the moment?
Go ahead.
Oh boy.
I want to see like the actual green screen picture of that.
Oh my god!
Of just Chris Evans and then Josh Brolin in a green screen suit.
Yes. Or because we've seen Thor and Josh Brolin when he puts Stormbreaker in him, and it kills the whole moment. So yeah, Mary has a point. The idea of just seeing those two on a green screen would be funny as all hell.
But I will say the song, the piece of music that played during that whole scene, it's called Portals. Listen to it. It is powerful as hell. One little tidbit I love before the big line that we've all been waiting for. The moment the music charges up and Steve looks back at Thanos after he has this whole goddamn army of everybody in the universe who Thanos fucked over coming over to stop him. The way he just looks back at Thanos, I love.
Yes.
There's something about it I just love. I don't know why.
I will say though, and Alec, you might hate me. I as much as it was satisfying hearing Chris Evans say "assemble" finally. It wasn't as good as I hoped it would be, because like I wanted him to have like the full assemble like that, like that they hinted at at the end of Age of Ultron. I wanted that kind of emphasis on it, but the idea that he's just like, nah, we about to end this, assemble, like it. I don't know how I feel about it still. Like it was good, but it wasn't, and it's just I'm mixed on it. Like. That's where I'm at with that.
I totally get that. I personally feel it would have been out of place if he shouted "assemble" as the music quieted down and focused on him. I feel like just him saying it very lowly. While you can make jokes about everyone be like, "What the fuck did he say?" Oh well, let's. But
I feel like everyone reacted to T'Challa going, "Ah!" Like that's where we go. We don't care about you, Steve. We care about the child.
Yeah, but I thought it was more fitting, and I thought it was a bit more satisfying to me, at least, that he just said it very lowly.
Yes.
But
Travis, I want to know your thoughts on this, like on the whole of the fight, because we'll go into a couple specifics, but we're getting to the end of the thing here. We gotta like give some time towards the end for the end of the stuff. But like, what were your thoughts on the entire shebang that we saw here? Like, don't go honestly, don't go into the end of the fight because we gotta talk about Tony in his own right. But like the fight itself.
Okay, the whole fight to me, like, and this is coming from like someone who grew up on like Dragon Ball Z and like hyper action flicks. This is some of the best action I've seen like on screen in my life, to be completely honest with you. Like the choreographer needs an award, please and thank you. Mm-hmm. Oh my god, because there are so many moments like when Steve gets the hammer and he just combos up Thanos like there's no tomorrow. It felt like I was playing Mortal Kombat, but it was Chris Evans doing these things on screen. And like a couple years ago in superhero movies, that was unthinkable. There was just no way you were going to get that much action in CGI in one scene and have it be a cohesive thing. And so, I don't know, like, I enjoyed the whole thing. And then with the portals, I really enjoyed the symbolism that the Russo brothers had. It's like, you've had 11 years of this. Your next phase is going to be women and black people. Deal with it.
Women and black people. That's great. I love that line.
Like it was that's how it felt, because like each portal had its own thing, and then you had that great shot with like Carol and Valkyrie and Scarlet Witch and all of them doing their own thing, and it was so, I don't know, it was very empowering, and it was something that, I don't know, a lot of the backlash has been griping about. So it's nice to see them giving the really toxic fans the middle finger. You know what I mean?
I will give it that, but I feel like the way it was done wasn't as good as it could have been. Like, it felt a bit cheese, and like the intent behind it was felt like we're gonna fire back at these people. So I while the scene is cool, I feel like it should have been done in a different way, like sort of in the way of like how Black Widow was the token. This felt like a very token moment, just to give like, hey, we could possibly do an A-Force movie here. Like, if they would have had more action in like Infinity War, like, granted, we had like the whole Scarlet Witch, Okoye, and Black Widow team up, but like, other than that, I feel like if there would have been more of that kind of stuff, it wouldn't have felt like a rush throw in at the last minute. Now, granted, like, Tessa Thompson on that Pegasus was freaking awesome. Carol just barreling through monsters was freaking awesome.
Yeah.
I don't like Gwyneth Paltrow, but the character of Pepper getting a suit was great. It was satisfying. Go ahead, Mary.
Oh, I was just going to say that the A-Force charge, I felt it was a little too on the nose.
That's what I'm getting at. It felt like they knew what they were trying to do, but it didn't feel earned because they didn't do more with it.
Well, I don't know if earned is the right word. I like that we got the scene of them together. But I feel that the whole, oh, she'll have help, like, that's the problem I have with the scene, is that it's a little too much capital G girl power.
Okay.
But, no, I feel like if they just would have had the scene without that, or, just without a line that wasn't a nudge and a wink to the audience, even if it was just, Pepper touching down and going, we got her, or we got this, I feel like it was just
there was a better way to do
the actual line. I mean, I also feel like Carol really didn't need the help.
Yeah,
because a bitch just going through, like, a bitch just blew up a damn spaceship by herself.
Yeah,
and
Thanos needed the Power Stone just to win some mercy.
Like
Thanos
saying,
I
don't know how you're gonna do that kind of felt weird because like you just saw her do all of that. Like, her getting there isn't a problem.
Thanos headbutted her and she didn't even flinch. So
I go ahead.
No. I was just adding in. Go
ahead. First of all, that scene I love because I love the inadvertent nod to Superman because that's a classic Superman scene.
Yes.
And I also feel like the scene that doesn't get enough attention, even though it should, is Scarlet fucking Witch.
Yeah.
Like, just absolutely crushing him.
So awesome. She just shows up like,
that was my problem with
payback.
Infinity War. I didn't care about bitches getting snapped. I cared about the fact that nobody was talking about how she's trying to pull the Infinity Stone out of Vision with one hand and is holding Thanos off with the other. This, like, that scene in Endgame with her, like, that is no more mutant Scarlet Witch.
Yes, it
like,
is.
That is the woman
Yes.
who could destroy the fabric of the Marvel Universe. And the fact that it took a technicality.
And I love how Thanos is like, bitch, I don't even know you. And she's like, oh no, honey,
You will. Oh, that is such a good line.
She damn near killed him.
Like,
and he had to like call
that firebomb. Like, he would have been done. Like, you wouldn't even have got to Tony. It would have just been done.
One thing I do want to say, I loved seeing Thanos get more and more desperate because he's realizing he's losing. Because like that was just like, and like I like the character a lot, but it's like it was so satisfying to see him finally start to lose.
Also,
and we'll get to that in a sec.
Yes, we will. But also, I love how Hope just shows up and like hops on ready to get shit popping.
She doesn't question.
Like, she doesn't question shit. Somehow she got herself a communicator. She just goes, "We're on it, Cap." Like, they haven't even got like her and Scott haven't even gotten a word or at each other yet. They're like, "Okay, work come first, then we'll talk. Like, we'll go do this."
I also love.
Yes.
I was gonna say I love the shade that's thrown at the van.
It's like, you want to see like ugly Brown ran anywhere? And the doctor's like, "Yeah, it's over there."
Ugh.
That was great.
What was it? I love that she just like gets up and she's like, "Oh, there's Howard the Duck. There's a walking tree. Oh, okay, cool."
Yeah, that was funny. But and then we go towards the end of this, the final blow, because Carol tries to stop him from getting the gauntlet. Also, real quick comment. I there was one thing this is my one criticism of the whole thing. If I could add one thing to this movie, it would be this. I really wanted Clint, like when T'Challa takes the gauntlet from Clint, I really wanted Clint to look back up at T'Challa and be like, "You remembered my name." Because in Civil War, he's just like, "I don't care." Like, he's just like, "Hi, I'm Clint. I don't care." Like, the idea that like Clint could have been like, "You remembered my name." Like, that would have been so satisfying to me. But like, they didn't give that to me. Like,
I think it was enough that he called him Clint.
Yeah,
I think
fair.
I think it was enough. But like, I totally get that.
But going to the final fight here, so Carol couldn't get it. She tried. Tony, to his credit, I like that Tony had the thought to put enough power in it, like the formation in the nano parts of his suit to make it like the stones equipable. So props to Tony having a backup plan. It doesn't make sense, but props to Tony for having a backup plan. But I as emotional as that final scene is, I am happy that Tony goes out the way he he goes out the way he came in. He came in and said the line, and then he left with the line, and that's what mattered to me. Like, I'm sad to see Downey go. I hope if we ever do get a Riri movie or whatever, that he comes back as a hollow person or whatever. But that's speculation for later. But in regards to this scene, I love it to death. Mary, I want to know your input on this thought. Like, even though like you haven't watched every movie, I want to know how you felt watching this.
Which part?
Like
the I Am Iron Man scene?
Like, just that entire and Tony dying thing.
Okay, look, it's a knee-jerk reaction, but my brain kind of went, "I am Batman."
Yes!
It is a knee-jerk reaction. It is not shade. It is not a dig. It is a knee-jerk reaction.
See, I had something similar because like my first thought was I am Steve Rogers, but that's just me.
No. Like, it's not shade. It's not a dig. Like, even Victoria leaned over to me and went, "I am Batman." So, but the only really thing I could think of is that Robert Downey Jr. is so rich now.
Yes,
he's so rich. But I thought it was because I have seen Iron Man. I think it was a good nod to he comes in with the line and then he goes out with the line. I feel like that's one of those details that you had to not obsessively is not the word I want to use, but dedicated, I guess. That that was a nod to dedicated viewers, kind of a thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
But I mean, it was cool. But my brain is all like, "I'm Batman." Like, I got that Michael Keaton thing in the back of my head.
What do you think?
I enjoyed it a lot. As far as the making sense thing is concerned, we're all comic fans, so we were able to be like, "Oh, Stark Tech," but
Yeah.
we'd never seen that in the MCU, at least to the extent that it was done right there. I don't know. I enjoyed that scene a lot. It deserved all the iconography it surrounded itself in.
Yes, and then like just the emotions that wreck you, where like say what you will about Gwyneth Paltrow, her like them connecting that whole line of "you can rest now," like that was powerful, and I was like, oh. I wasn't crying at Peter, but you saying you can rest now kind of hit me in the gut. Like, oh,
Right.
Okay, I don't like Gwyneth Paltrow, but I'm not going to deny that the bitch can act.
yes,
Because she can, and she does it very well. And it was a well-delivered line. It's just, I always really liked Pepper.
yes. And like her getting that suit was very cool. And like that, the gif of the boot, like the leaked footage is already out of her like and Tony doing the spin together in the air. And I wish there would have been like an in helmet shot, like of them communicating, like "Hi, honey, I'm home." Like something like that would have been cool. But just the shot itself of them doing the spin was great. So that's that. But from there, hey, Alec, what'd you think of that line? I'm sorry.
Wow, I'm the special guest and you forgot all about me.
I apologize. Sir.
I'm sorry. I'm being a bitch. Okay,
No,
I'm
you're
sorry.
good. We have fun here. It's a good time.
No. All right. So piggybacking off what I said earlier, one of the most satisfying things about this movie was seeing Thanos finally lose. This thing that like I love so much is like Thanos saying "I am inevitable," and then he snaps his fingers, and Tony got the stones, and Tony gives him this like almost like a smirk, and Thanos just has this defeated look in his face, and I love that after all this time, after all these years of being so like afraid of what Thanos was going to do, of like what was coming to what was going to happen, which happened in Infinity War, that all this time Tony finally got to relish in the fact that he beat Thanos. He beat the demon that was like in his head since the first Avengers movie. And just like y'all said, bookending it with the line "I am Iron Man" was perfect.
Yes.
And another thing I love was that, and like this is a menial thing, but I love that Tony made Thanos be the last one to get dusted.
Yes.
Because he wanted Thanos to see like, oh yeah, you fucking lost. You like, you're done. And Thanos just sits down like he did at the end of Infinity War, but instead he's totally defeated and just dusts away.
Yes.
And
that was a great thing.
Like, as soon as I saw Tony sit down, I knew what was coming. And when Rhodey gave him the look, I knew it was coming. And then when Peter came in, I started sobbing. Like,
to his credit, I really wasn't crying at that point, but like to his credit, Tom Holland did his work there. Like,
oh, absolutely.
It was reverse of the Infinity War scene to a T, and it was like Tom Holland put that work in. So like, good job on you, good sir.
Yeah, I'm really like, I'm excited for Tom Holland's future in the MCU because I know that he can pull off like these really emotional scenes as long as the writers will let it. Because Homecoming, he didn't have much of an emotional. He didn't have like a point where he was like really, really on the verge of tears. And I say this as someone who loves Homecoming.
Yes.
So yeah.
From there, we go to the funeral.
Hang on.
What's up?
Hang on. You know how Thanos would have won?
Oh dear.
Thanos copter.
Yes! Thanos copter!
Thanos copter!
I'm so mad.
I wanted
so
Thanos
mad we never
so bad. But anyway, to the funeral. One thing that adds to my whole thing about Tony left the way he came, like the way he came in, they made sure that Samuel L. Jackson came out of the shadows of that porch, and it was really like indicative of when he came out of the shadows in the post-credit scene. So it's almost like they tied the whole knot. Like, yeah, right there. It was great. Like I think they even had the kid from Iron Man 3 make a quick spot.
Yeah, they did.
The funeral. I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, they did.
And that was great. Ian said yes, no, Thanos copter, MCU film 0 out of 10. but no, that scene was painful. I was more like the funeral didn't hit me until the old arc reactor was on the flowers. That was when I was like, okay, no, I'm gonna cry now. I'm gonna sit here for a minute, have a good cry, and then it just kept going. And I was like, okay, what can happen now? Oh, we're gonna let Steve go put everything back? Why isn't Bucky or Sam going with him? Oh, wait. Oh, no. Don't do it. Don't do it. Oh, you're gonna do it? Yay. I can be happy now. Yay. So Steve goes back and he puts everything. Like, Ian, hold on! You're ruining my moment. Because he's ruining my moment in the chat. Like Steve goes back and puts all the Infinity Stones back where they need to go, which doesn't make sense because how do you put the Space Stone back in the cube when there's no cube? And also how do you put the Ether back inside of Natalie Portman? But that's beside the point. And how do you put the Mind Stone back on the staff? But that's beside the point. He goes back. He puts Mjolnir back too, which is disappointing. And he doesn't come back. And Bucky sees him on the thing. And like Bucky even gives Sam the nod, like, "Nah, man, this is all you. This is all you." And I'm tearing up, like, "Oh man, don't do this to me." And Steve's just like, "Hi, Sam," and I'm like, "Ah!" And he's just old, and it's so satisfying. And what we didn't mention was the whole thing that Steve saw Peggy Carter in the flashback portion. So
did the John Krasinski thing?
Yeah, like it hinted to like him going back, which was great. And Steve just goes, "Nah, I don't want to tell you about all that happened." So but here I have a present for you, and I'll be the one to say it. Like, I kind of just got really emotional and like broke down and was like hyperventilating because that entire thing where like Mackie picks up the shield and like he just goes, "It doesn't feel like it's mine," and Steve just goes, "It is," and I'm like, "Ah!" And it was like, and Bucky even gives him the nod from the back, like, "Nah, we talked about this. Like, we didn't tell you we did, but we talked about this." And it's like, ow, ow, ow. I was a wreck. It was so satisfying because I know some people don't like the Secret Empire and what it was doing, but I love Sam being Captain America so much because it's the ultimate passing of the torch. And, Travis is agreeing with me, yay. And they took it away because of idiot people, and it frustrates me. So to see them give me vindication in that one scene means everything to me. And to the point that I scooped up Captain America 25, the first appearance of Sam as Captain America, like right before the speculators got a hold of it. I got it for $20, and now it's $50, and I'm happy. So yay. But I just that scene meant everything to me. And Travis, how did you feel about that?
I really liked it. It was a pretty decent passing of the torch. My only issue is not an issue with the movie, but an issue with myself, and that everyone has these impulses to crack jokes at proper times.
Oh dear.
And I have been a big fan of old world Steve Rogers memes. I don't know if you guys have seen any of those. So Sam was just like, "Will you tell me about her?" The only thing I could hear Steve saying is, "Boy, that's my wife." And so, I'm sorry, I had to ruin that, but I don't know. It was a really powerful scene. I'm excited to see some more of Sam Wilson in the movies as Captain America, or Captain Falcon, as I like to call him.
Oh my god. Mary,
can I make a point?
Yes, you can, because I was going to you next.
Okay. I'm gonna rewind us about 10 minutes.
Okay.
The whole funeral thing. Yes. I want to connect this to my Black Widow point of she's dead and nobody cares.
Well, they had that emotional moment when they got back.
But they couldn't have done hey, yeah, sure, Tony died, but Natasha died 20 minutes before he did. Can we say something nice about her too? I feel like, and I get it, Tony's the important guy. But it just kind of compounds my belief that they had the she's dead, everybody's mad scene, and then at the very end they had just Scarlet Witch and Hawkeye just kind of talking to each other. Mm-hmm. And I think that's the one downside of Tony's funeral, and I know I'm ruining the fun for everybody.
Oh, no, you're
The
fine.
fact that there are a handful of people who are still dead, but I don't know. I just feel like that kind of bolsters my point that I made a little while ago.
Yes, you are very
That,
correct.
like, yes, they couldn't have won the fight without Tony, but they literally could not have done any of this had Natasha not sacrificed herself.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
You know what would have been great, and I'm gonna get hate for referencing this movie. They should have X-Men Last Standed it, and they should have had 3 gravestones at the end of the movie because they had one for Jean, one for Scott, and one for Professor X. They should have did what they did in X-Men Last Stand.
I mean, they could have,
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, do the big funeral for Tony. I mean, Robert Downey Jr., he's been with the franchise a hell of a lot longer. But the fact that there was almost no mention whatsoever, the fact that Vision basically said, yeah, just let me die kind of a thing. Black Widow throwing herself off the cliff. Like, these aren't little character things. Like, I'm not trying to stand my favorite character. These are massive plot points.
Yes.
Yeah.
That ultimately remain emotionally unresolved at the end. Like, we got the scene of them sitting in the little pavilion thing being grumpy the fact that she's dead, but I feel like Gamora got a bit of closure, but I mean, hell, Vision isn't even in the movie at all.
Yeah,
Like, not even as fancy flashback.
we don't even
But I mean,
know
the fact that
how WandaVision's even going to occur now.
I think
It's got to be.
I think it's going to take place between Ultron and Civil War.
Oh, okay.
I think it's going to be like a House of M type situation.
Okay. That would be
Oh,
kinda
someone
cool.
said it. Thank you so much.
Because they said it's gonna have a 1950s aesthetic.
Mary, finish your point.
Sorry.
Oh, no, I was just kind of rounding it out too. I think that bolsters my point.
Okay.
But then again, I'm also probably just like waving my angry woman banner, whatever
you
we
are
have.
making a very valid
Yeah, no.
point, especially because you stuck up for Vision too. You make a very valid point.
Now I want an angry woman banner.
But what did you think of the whole Sam, Steve, Bucky thing?
I fully expected Sam to get the shield because, obviously we knew ages ago Chris Evans is done. And, like, I am so happy for him because he gets to have a career now.
That's true.
I mean, like, I know he loves being Captain America and all that, but I wouldn't want to do that every day forever. Like, he can sit down on the couch with a box of Twinkies and just go to town.
Yes, he can.
Right.
Yeah.
But no, I fully expected Sam to take the shield because not only is giving it to Bucky problematic for a number of reasons. One, I always thought that his run as Captain America was freaking disastrous, in my opinion. Like,
Yes.
when after Civil War in the comics, after Civil War, when Bucky becomes Captain America, I thought it was a huge low point for the character.
It was. You're not wrong.
And I feel that Sam is more apt to carry on that legacy of, at the core, Captain America is the ideal soldier. And I think Sam has the honor, he has the integrity that, he brings that, he moves that forward.
And even with the MCU rewrite of Sam being in the Air Force, they haven't explained Sam's backstory enough of like his dad being a pastor and stuff like that, but the idea that Sam is still noble enough to pick up that shield and do it right, and like he doesn't make some dumb line about it, like when Steve gives it to him, he literally says, "I don't feel worthy of this," and Steve goes, "But you are," and then he goes, "I'll make you proud," and Steve goes, "That's why you get it." Because you want to live up to it. Not that you feel justified in that you have it. It's you want to live up to it. And that's what made that scene powerful. But that's just me. Anybody disagree?
Yeah.
No, I feel that's pretty on point.
One thing I want to... Sorry.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
All right. One thing I wanted to say, Anthony Mackie's acting in that scene was perfect.
Yes.
Like,
Oh, yeah.
seeing like all the emotions he had when he said it feels like it belongs to somebody else, and Steve says it isn't, and he just like takes a second to look at it and like collect his thoughts, and he just says thank you in this like completely earnest way. I love that. That was beautiful.
Yes. Mary, what were you gonna say?
Again, it was a very emotional moment, and I do praise Anthony Mackie for his acting. However, not having seen all of, I still have never seen Civil War. Actually, I'm just going to admit that right up front. It felt a little Batman and Robin to me. But like again, this is it's an emotional scene that I don't have as much attachment to, and I feel that all of my points need to be prefaced with that.
Yeah.
That it is a powerful scene, and I got choked up a little bit because it is an important moment, and I like sticking it to douchebags who were really mad at that scene.
Yes. Like the fact that I'm writing an article about it this weekend, that Nick Spencer, like regardless of his political opinion, is freaking psychic. He saw the future to a T. Because yes, there was some dumb issue this week. Apparently that Chris Evans was mad at a football player over him supporting Trump or some shit. And before people were saying "Not my Captain America" about that, people were already saying "Not my Captain America" about the movie. And Nick Spencer put that in Sam Wilson Captain America #2, and it came true, and it's hilarious.
I mean, there were also two camps with the "Not My Captain America" thing, but because there were the racist people, and then there were the angry fangirls. So
yeah,
because everyone loves their Stucky
and hate, and I'm not gonna get into this.
Yeah,
I've said too much.
We've already taken a jab at it. We need to leave it alone. But honestly, this was great. This movie, like I said, it's my probably my second favorite in the whole franchise. We gave our collective thoughts about this. The one thing I know a lot of people are wondering, like, are we overtime? We are like, we literally just hit overtime, so we'll wrap it up with this conversation. The continuity issues left by A, Thanos coming to the future, and B, Loki getting away with the cube. Those are the two big things, and also Steve. People are concerned about Steve breaking the timeline over him staying with Peggy. Now, here was my original thought before the Russos came out and said it was he diverged the timeline. Here was my original thought. I just thought that he told Peggy to shut the frick up and not tell anybody that he was alive, and that he was just her husband under a different name, and it was homaging Nick Spencer's Generations book of him living a happy life under a different name. That's what I thought it was. So, like, Steve told Peggy about, hey, you need to let my younger self, like, think that you still love him and not me, obviously. That way he can go out the way he needs to. And Peggy, with her dementia, was like, okay. Like, that was my theory. But apparently the Russos were like, no, he diverged the timeline. And then he came back with other technology. And I was like, that's not as fun, though. Like, you ruined my idea.
Well, that's also it. I'm also wondering if he was in the alternate timeline, if he went back after that conversation.
Maybe. It's a possibility. I mean, there's the other idea that, like, he can make cameos as an old man or something like that now. There's that.
Am I?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. What I want to say is, I think, and I know that, like, this is the end. This is the end game. It should not be setting up future stuff. But I see the whole continuity errors of them creating these alternate timelines where Loki got the Tesseract and he bounced and the other timeline where Thanos, Gamora, and Nebula are not in that universe anymore, and they're all gone. Like, I feel like that will lead to their What If animated series.
Ooh,
So I think
true.
because that's a big thing happening, and a Loki show too. But I'd hope it's not, because like Loki's had so much character development, and I'd rather not see a show about him before all the character development. So
It'd give all the fangirls
Yeah.
what they want.
yeah, that show pretty
I
much
have-
is just them giving Stans what they want. But anyway,
Mary, what were you about to say?
yeah. Oh, sorry.
I
sorry.
have a No, you're fine. No, I have a theory that is similar to Alex. I think this is their way of kind of untangling the TV and the movies. Because, when Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. dropped, they made such a huge deal about the fact that all of the TV shows were going to combine into the MCU. And then, Feige notoriously hated the Netflix shows. And I think this, because then the TV shows have referenced the movies, but it's never, gone the opposite. I think this is kind of their way of untangling things so they can do something like what DC does, where DC has, their TV stuff, they have their movies, because they play off the multiverse. I think Marvel's going to try to do a similar thing, but instead of a multiverse, it might be timelines. Which is
Yeah.
another way of saying multiverse. But what kind of got me is the fact that Runaways and Cloak and Dagger, which both came after that huge, oh my god, everything's going to be connected, they haven't referenced the movies at all.
You're correct.
And so that's kind of like what I'm starting to think, is that maybe these two shows are, potentially taking place in a different timeline, because Jeff Loeb pretty much said that the TV shows are going to, quote, be doing their own thing. So I'm wondering if this is kind of a built-in way for them to go, actually.
That's true.
So that's my theory, is that also cuts down on the amount of narrative work they have to do.
Yeah.
But it does open the horrible back door of them recasting the people in the Netflix shows for movies, which kind of breaks my heart.
But
I
that means that they can keep these characters going forever.
Oh yeah, you're right.
What I want to say.
Go ahead.
I haven't heard that Feige notoriously hates the Netflix shows,
He does.
so that's new information to me. From what I heard, it was basically just he didn't want to answer the Perlmutter anymore, so he gave an ultimatum to Disney that if he still had to answer the Perlmutter, he would quit after Civil War. Disney sided with him, so after that, the TV shows and the movies weren't trying to really connect anymore. That's what I heard, but I still have hope that they won't recast the Netflix characters when those contracts expire in 2020. I still have hope for that, but we'll see. We'll see.
Travis, what's your theories on all this fun stuff?
I think this is kind of the end of an era as far as superhero movies are concerned, and I think this is going to open the door up for much more grim, dark movies, which is honestly what I've been wanting from this the entire time.
Take
with
that,
alternate
Marvel
timelines. Yeah, well, it's like with this alternate universe timelines deal, they can kind of just kill whoever they want and bring them back with impunity. And I'm not saying that that's what they're going to do immediately, but I am kind of excited to see something really gruesome go down to kind of signify the end.
Where I'm at with this is I have a few theories. I feel like, I swear to God, Marvel, if you don't give me an Ultimates movie, I'm gonna be pissed because you set up Carol, you set up Monica, you set up T'Challa. You can give me Blue Marvel, and you can beat because all the freaking rumors are that freaking what's his face wants to be Black Superman over at DC. If you can beat the DC's with a bunch of a Black Superman and give us Blue Marvel, and like your entire team right there is the Ultimates. You have the most diverse group of superheroes fighting against the most powerful forces in the universe, and that's what like everyone's been asking. Where do you go from Thanos? Right there, Ultimates, space, Dewey. Like you can have Galactus, you can have Eternity Man, you can have like Eternity, you can have everything you could possibly like the freaking what's the word the grand the human tribunal. You can have everything right there if you do Ultimates. Part 2 of my theory, M'Baku becomes a villain, and it makes perfect sense. And now with M'Baku's actor getting more famous because of Jordan Peele, that would be the great way to give him a better arc now, not as just an ally, but make him a villain. It'd be great. Or third theory, they say no to my idea and just do Space Wakandans, and it'll piss me off. Because Space Wakandans is really weird, and it's not done, and if they rush to Space Wakandans, I'm going to be pissed. From there, we have Peter, who has the potential to go forward with like everything. He has Far From Home. He can do some other movies if he wants, but Marvel would be idiotic if they didn't pull Miles in now that they gave Donald Glover his little cameo. So hopefully that'll be a thing. But if we don't get Ultimates, we will get sort of what the really crappy Avengers TV show did, where the Avengers is literally just like Carol, T'Challa, Peter, Ant-Man, and Wasp. Like that'll be a thing probably. So that's my other little dumb theory that could happen. But otherwise, I feel like...
about this, Jerry.
What'd you say, Mary?
We've talked about this.
What?
You know they're not going to do Ultimates.
Why?
I'm mad. Because, first name America, last name Chavez, kind of a big deal in that storyline.
The Ultimates? Because I know they can't do that. She's too powerful.
They will never bring her in.
Well, no, that's why I left her out of the Ultimates theory. That like if you leave her out, they're not gonna. And Ian, I know you want Kamala, but I don't think they need to give Carol like a status quo in the current timeline before you can give me Kamala. Like she can be a drop at the end of Captain Marvel 2, but I need more from Carol before we get. What's what Brie wants? Okay, cool, but like make it an end of the movie thing. But that's what I need. I need Carol to have a status quo before. Also, I need Monica before you give me Kamala. That's what I'm gonna say to that. Give me Monica before you give me Kamala.
I need Monica as Captain Marvel, right?
Well, I agree. But we will never get that because Feige's an idiot. But,
I know.
I
know.
Yeah, it's painful. We all know. But also, Ian asked for Jessica Drew in Captain Marvel 2. I would.
You cut out.
Ian said he wants Jessica Drew in Captain Marvel 2, and I'm like, with all the Ultimate nods that Far From Home's doing with Nick Fury and Peter, I wouldn't be like. Honestly, this kind of sucks at the idea, but I could honestly see them doing Ultimate Jessica Drew. I honestly like. He's like, no clothes, and I'm like, I know I have my whole rant where I said no more clothes, but if they're gonna if we get any Clone Saga for Holland, it has to be Ultimate. It's the only.
But keep in mind that all of that has to come through Sony.
Ooh, yeah, you're right.
And if Sony is still wanting to do the animated sequel to, or, air quote, sequel to Into the Spider-Verse with the Spider-Women,
ooh, yeah,
then is Sony really going to hand over their cash cow?
That's true.
Because, it's only a matter of time before the deal between Disney and Sony is up.
That's very true. I don't know.
We just gotta wait for Apple to buy Sony.
That's an idea. Well, because like the reason why I said like Drew could be Ultimate Drew is because the fact that like I know like because Spider-Geddon was a train wreck, and they even had Jessica Drew shooting webs on one of the covers, and it was like the fuck. But like, and I know that everybody freaked out that somebody said Cindy Moon was in the background of Homecoming, but really, no, stop. If there's a better chance that we would get Cindy Moon in that female Spider-Verse movie than you would get than you getting her in live action. So I would rather them do Ultimate Drew on screen than them do a crappy job trying to put her in an animated movie. That's just me. I don't know. Because Ultimate Drew would be cool. I know I've been the one to say I hate clones for months, but like if you're gonna do it right. Bendis did one right thing in his entire career, and that was the Clone Saga. I'm gonna say that.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong at all.
Okay, well from there we are gonna not Miles James. I would love to see Miles in live action. I even said earlier that I think it could happen without the Donald Glover cameo because Ian asked about Miles. I would love it, but with the success that Spider-Verse has been, I don't think they'll. I just realized what Ian was trying to say, that Bendis' greatest creation. I think Miles is a great thing. And I think Bendis did right, but rectifying the Clone Saga. We should talk about some Living on the Edge, but like rectifying the Clone Saga after the crappy way it was done originally was a better triumph for me than Miles as a whole, because I feel as if other people have done more with Miles than Bendis has. That's my opinion.
Yeah.
But we are gonna go ahead and wrap up and give our closing thoughts on this giant thing. If you, Travis, if you had to give Endgame a rating, what would it be out of 10? Travis?
What's that? You cut out pretty hard.
What would you give Endgame a rating out of 10?
Oh, man. I'm gonna give it the 9.5 because for my only swear of the show, I can't dick ride this thing that hard.
Fair enough.
Were we only allowed to swear once?
Well, no,
that was just a personal rule for me.
I broke the rule already.
Yes.
So.
Before Mary got on the mic, I told the boys we got to be civilized human beings and only cuss a couple times. But I broke that rule too, so it's fine. But yeah. Mary, if you had to give this movie a rating out of 10 as the outsider, how would you feel?
Now I just need that Ralph Wiggum picture. I'm in danger. I don't know, like, I have issues with the movie, like, narratively, so I'm gonna have to do, like, a 7.7.
Okay, I respect that.
That's fine.
I think, like, with cinematography and effects and everything, it is bar none a fantastic film, but like if we're talking narrative, I kind of gotta give it between like a 7.5 and an 8.
Okay, that's fair.
That's fair.
I'm gonna like do what Travis said not to do, and I'm gonna dig right Obama, as the Boondocks taught me, and that's why Mary and Travis both laughed at that reference. Because they both watched the Boondocks with me. I am going to give this movie a 9.8 because because the only Marvel movie that I give a 10, even though it is flawed, is Black Panther. Alec, are you giving it a 10?
Yeah, and it's not because I think the story is perfect. It's just because I think it's a perfect ending to the Infinity Saga, and I think the emotion of it are more important in this movie than what makes sense of it, if that makes any sense. But yeah.
Yeah, no, it does.
That's fair. Yeah. All right. Well, Alec, you are the guest. What is your closing statement for episode 4 of Panel to Panel?
Well, I had a great time talking about what is pretty much in my top favorite movies now. And I don't want to sound like a fanboy, and it's only been a week, I know, but like it means a lot to me, and I'm glad I was able to talk about it. If any of you want to follow me, you can follow me at the Alec Thorne on Twitter. You can follow my podcast, Living on the Edge, on Twitter, which is at LOTE_podcast. We will have another episode next week with can we say this now?
Or? I'll say at the end. Well,
okay, cool.
But yeah, we'll have plugs.
Yeah. We'll have another episode next week talking about Spider-Man 3. But yeah, thank you.
Travis, what is your closing statement for episode 4?
Endgame was awesome, and Mary continues to blow my mind with her hot takes on certain shit. Like, honestly, like, to be a little uncouth about it, like, I never thought about the whole Black Widow arc as just the guys being mad that the fucking pass around is dead, and I'm very hurt. I'm very hurt. Like,
Oh no!
Mary, after your slew of hot takes, what is your closing statement for this episode?
I'm in danger. Like, I'm just gonna change that to my Twitter.
All right. My closing statement, as always, is support your local comic book shop. Support this industry that we all love. We will catch you folks next time right here on Panel to Panel. Peace out.